You're watching Eye on Africa here on France 24. I'm Julia Kim. These are the headlines on the continent. Ethiopia's Tigray region has held elections in a show of defiance against Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. He's called the votes illegal, but says the federal government will not respond with force. A diplomatic milestone for Somaliland as the breakaway self-declared nation opens a de facto embassy in Taiwan. Somalia and China have condemned their partnership. And later on in the programme, we'll speak to the founder of Little Africa. It's a cultural centre set to open in Paris's Goutte neighbourhood, one of the epicentres of the African diaspora. But first, polls have closed in Ethiopia's northern Tigray region. Regional parliamentary elections went ahead despite the federal government postponing polls due to coronavirus. According to the Tigrayan Electoral Commission, over 97% of voters cast their ballot. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has called it illegal but has ruled out responding with force. This is the latest challenge to his authority as he struggles to hold together a nation of over 80 ethnic groups. Tigray has called the vote a historic victory, vital for the people's self-determination. Let's take a listen to some of those voters.
I'm here to vote so that the party or government that rules is legitimate and the elected party will have a big role in preventing the coronavirus from spreading. Also, I'm here because I want to exercise my self-governance rights.
This election has a big value for me as well as for the Tigrayan people as a whole. We struggled for elections to be held every 5 years. The election is happening on schedule. Therefore, I am here to vote.
Well, France 24's regional correspondent Mukwela Lachwayo has the latest.
Today's elections in the northern Tigray region of Ethiopia highlight the latest in political tensions that have been brewing for months. Now, Ethiopia was due to hold its national elections in August. However, the central government in Addis Ababa decided to postpone these elections due to the COVID-19 pandemic. A new date has yet to be set. The Tigrayans make about 5% of Ethiopia's population, which is also Africa's second most populous nation. The Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, which is also known as TPLF, enjoys widespread support there. They are also likely to win today's elections. The ruling Prosperity Party said that they would not recognize these elections. The TPLF have also said that the extension of Prime Minister Abiy's rule is illegitimate. The Prime Minister Abiy had also threatened any measures necessary in order to stop the polls. However, he ruled out military action. The TPLF said that any attempt to stop today's elections would be a declaration of war. The TPLF has dominated elections in Ethiopia since 1991, when as an armed group overthrew a Marxist regime that was in power at that time. However, that changed recently when Prime Minister Abiy came into power 2 years ago. The TPLF leaders say that their officials were purged out of positions within the central government because they refused to merge with Prime Minister Abiy's Prosperity Party.
The breakaway territory of Somaliland has opened a de facto embassy in Taiwan's capital, Taipei. It comes after both parties signed a bilateral agreement back in February. While neither Taiwan or Somaliland are recognized by the United Nations, they both have independent governments, currencies and security systems. Both China and Somalia have condemned what Somaliland's envoy has called a very special relationship. Here he is speaking earlier.
Our relation is a spirit of mutual assistance that will never expose any harm whatsoever to the interests of other countries, but rather contribute to the international peace and regional economic activities.
Taiwan and Somaliland share the commitment to safeguarding the values of freedom, democracy, justice, and the rule of law. We both face external pressures, but are both proud of our sovereignty and ready to defend it.
Now, record floods have hit a number of countries across the Sahel region. From Senegal to Niger, dozens have been killed and tens of thousands have been left homeless. Meanwhile, the UN says it's flying 100 tons of aid to Sudan, where over 500,000 homes have been destroyed. Nicolas Jamin with this report.
In the Sahel region, the worst hit country has been Sudan. Floods there have killed more than 100 people. This is footage of southern Khartoum.
وهذا الفيضان والله العظيم لم نشهد له مثيلا. أهلنا يسكنوا هذه المنطقة يمكن أكثر من 100 سنة يعني. أنا ذات يمكن قاعد هنا 40 سنة. ما حصل فيضان زي ده ولا حصل تكسير زي ده.
Another Sahel country where the floods have wreaked damage is Niger. More than 60 people have died. In the capital Niamey, those who have lost their houses have gathered in this camp for displaced people. Deforestation along rivers is one of the causes of the floods, as people cut down trees to make charcoal. Another problem in Niger is that the floods have destroyed more than 5,000 hectares of crops, especially rice fields. In Senegal, officials said 6 people had died. President Macky Sall has been criticised for the government's response. On Tuesday evening, he went on national television to defend his actions. He promised a package of €5 million to those who had lost everything.
Anti-apartheid crusader and Nelson Mandela's personal lawyer, George Bizos, has died of natural causes. He was 92 years old. Bizos came to South Africa as a child after fleeing the Nazi occupation of Greece. He played a key role in the legal fight to end apartheid and helped write the laws for the newly democratic country. Bizos represented Mandela from his treason trial in 1964 up until the former president's death in 2013. A beloved national figure, the renowned human rights lawyer continued working well into his 80s. Now, one of South Africa's largest retail chains has shut all its stores for a day over a racist shampoo ad on its website. In it, a black woman's hair was labelled frizzy and dull, and a blonde woman's hair fine and flat. The commercial for American hair care brand Tresemme sparked widespread protests. Clicks, the company at the centre of the row, has since announced it will pull all Tresemme products from its shelves. A second major retailer, Checkers, says it will also do the same. And finally, Little Africa is a company that's devoted to transcending the narrative of what it means to be of African descent in the world's most visited city, Paris. It's a cultural agency dedicated to elevating all things Afro and African. And the woman behind it is Jacqueline Ngumpi. We spoke to her earlier.
The mission of Little Africa, it's really, it's about connecting the diaspora, but also connecting the diaspora with the rest of the world, because we are in Paris and that Paris is the most visited city in the world. So basically, we work on the narrative and the storytelling and help people to have a better understanding of the African culture.
Now, Little Africa started off doing tours of Paris. How did you become what you are today?
Basically, we always follow what our customers and travelers, have request us, which means for the first time people were wanting to know more things and learn more things about African things. And then it was all about experiencing. And then we realized that people were also looking for a space where they can gather together and have conversations, meet locals, meet travelers, have activities that can help them really build a new relationship with the continent.
This brings me to my next question, which is, why do you think Paris needs a cultural and commercial centre dedicated to the African diaspora?
Because today, Paris and France through Paris has the biggest African diaspora in Europe. So I think that it's something that you can't miss when you come to Paris and go around Paris, the Paris downtown and the Paris suburbs. I think it's a major step to help travelers, but also locals to have this new approach and this connection, that showcase what Africa has the best to offer.
Now, in Paris, there aren't very many, I mean, I struggle to think of many cultural centres dedicated to Africa or the African diaspora. What are the kind of hurdles facing African artists that want to showcase their work here in this city?
So there is a booming activity about the contemporary art industry for the last 6-7 years. But the reality is that, yes, African artists, for example, in Paris, really struggles to be, to get into classical art galleries. There are some fairs and some events, but those are temporary things. So the reality is that many of them, most of the time, they do the job by themselves online, but there are only a few that are on art galleries. So what we're going to try to do is to offer them a space where they can even come and showcase their art, or help them also showcase an art, but also have some training sessions helping them about self-branding, about selling their work also to curators and art galleries, which is a thing that we already have done 2 years ago.
Thanks for watching. That's it for this edition. There's more news coming up. Stay tuned.